The analog statement. The Silicon Valley billionaire doesn't wear a neural interface on his wrist. No heart rate tracker, nothing that sends data to any server. He wears a 1970 Swiss mechanical watch with a leather strap. This isn't nostalgia. It's a manifesto. After the aesthetic collapse of 2024, when executives began showing up to meetings with screens and biometric sensors on their wrists, classic haute horology became the only accessory that signals absolute power. Not the power of being connected, the power of being intentionally unreachable. Today's mechanical calibers rest inside anti-magnetic sapphire cases that resist any urban electromagnetic field. But the soul of the piece remains analog. The silent dial, the hand-dyed organic leather strap, mathematically calibrated to harmonize with the leather details of the wearer's hat or belt. The feeling on the wrist is this: cold metal against skin, warm leather against bone. A weight that doesn't vibrate, doesn't beep, doesn't notify anything. The only acceptable sound on the wrist of a man who has nothing to prove is the ticking of hand-assembled gears.
The immunity suit. A white suit in the urban chaos of 2026 should be a death sentence for the fabric. It isn't. Italian houses and Parisian ateliers spent the last decade turning immaculate tailoring into a real climate shield. Cool wool and pure linen are now woven with aerogel microfibers, invisible to the human eye, that actively repel liquids, pollution, and soot. The body's internal temperature stabilizes around 21 degrees Celsius, whether you're standing under the sun of an arid desert or crossing the cold fog of a metropolis at 3 in the morning. Self-cleaning nanotechnology isn't science fiction. It exists. Applied to the thread weave, it repels even polluted air. White has always been the color of immunity to manual labor. In 2026, it is the color of environmental immunity. The drape is sharp. The lapel reflects light. The skin breathes. And while the rest of the world hides in dark, waterproof synthetic fabrics, the techwear aesthetic of fear, the man at the top crosses the environment untouched, creating a microclimate of dominance where dirt simply doesn't dare make contact with.
The living jacket. There is a fundamental distinction that separates luxury from ultra-luxury in tailoring. In luxury, you wear the clothes. In ultra-luxury, the clothes learn your body. In the great tailoring houses of London, Milan, and Tokyo, the English measuring tape has already been replaced by subatomic precision LiDAR scanners. You are not measured standing still. You are mapped in motion. The way your shoulder drops as you walk, the natural rotation of your elbow, the inclination of your spine when you sit. The traditional internal structural canvas has been replaced by a web of flexible graphene and horsehair, stitched by micro-robotic arms guided by master tailors. This web doesn't merely follow the body, it adapts to micromuscular contractions in real time. The jacket possesses biomechanical shape memory. In the first months of wear, it records your walking posture and redistributes the fabric's weight with each step to nullify gravity on the shoulders. When you fasten the main button, the physical sensation is literally that of wearing nothing at all. The fabric expands imperceptibly, a fraction of a second before you finish raising your arm. It anticipates the anatomy. It laughs in the face of the rigidity of any garment made for a generic body that isn't.
The soundless step.
There was a time when luxury shoes announced the magnate's arrival. The clack-clack of the wooden heel on marble, unmistakable, intentional. The important man announced himself before he appeared. Today, being heard before being seen is considered vulgar. The master shoemakers of 2026 work toward a radically different goal: absolute silence. The full-cut Oxford, a single piece of European calf leather with no visible stitching, rests on a sole that looks like classic rigid leather from the outside. Inside, the core is filled with metamaterials inherited from the aerospace industry, originally developed for passive vibration cancellation in fuselages. The shoe emits 0 decibels upon contact with hard ground. The feeling for the wearer. The firmness of the asphalt exists, but the stride floats. No vibration. The surface reflects light like hand-polished black glass. Visible heritage, inaudible movement. In an environment where everyone competes for sonic and visual attention, walking without making the slightest sound has become the supreme demonstration of authority. The most respected shoe in the world's modern boardrooms is the one that lands heavy on leather and walks like a predator you never heard coming.
The invisibility architecture. With facial recognition and mapping drones omnipresent in cities from 2025 onward, avant-garde tailoring did something unexpected. It didn't create shiny, futuristic suits. It didn't use science fiction reflective materials. It reclaimed the silhouette of the 1940s. Fedora hats, geometrically structured hard collars, the brims and angles that existed before any smart camera ever existed, and that by accident or by design are the most elegant solution to the most contemporary problem there is. The mathematical measurements of a brim's inclination are not arbitrary. Designed at exactly 45 degrees, they intercept urban light and fragment the infrared beams of AI reading systems in the streets. While the general public wears anti-surveillance clothing that glows or resembles absurd science fiction costumes, the elite found the perfect block in the most traditional garments that exist. The brim's shadow erases the jawline. The collar frames and covers the expression. You see the world with crystal clarity, but the lighting never reaches your forehead, blocking any micro-expression reading. The supreme subversion of 2026 is not to frame the face, it is to conceal it in darkness, in broad daylight. You become a visual enigma. The skin disappears, the hat remains, and the observer's tension is forced solely onto the sharp gleam of your eye.
The molecular secret. Over the last 3 years, artificial intelligences have learned to counterfeit any haute couture label with absolute precision. Logo, badge, monogram, internal QR code, all replicable, all compromised. The response from true luxury houses was radical. They simply stopped putting marks on their clothes. Authentication now occurs at the molecular level. Fibers such as Myanmar lotus silk, manually extracted from flower stems, producing only a few kilograms per year worldwide, or wild vicuña wool, receive harmless chemical signatures infused directly into the primary thread during spinning. No label at the nape of the neck, no monogram, nothing the eye can see. To verify the authenticity of a coat that cost $500,000 at a private atelier, the auctioneer uses a portable spectrometer that reads the invisible source code embedded in the thread weave. To the naked eye, the piece looks like an earthy, opaque overcoat with a rustic drape. Anonymous, nameless. But when you close your eyes and run your fingers along the cuff, the owner feels a microscopic fluidity that no industrial fabric can imitate. It is the difference between holding water and holding liquid silk. Unmistakable to those who know, invisible to those who don't. In 2026, whoever displays a visible designer label is middle class, fighting for social validation. The man at the top wears a completely anonymous wardrobe. His authenticity is embedded in